Hey everyone, either welcome back or welcome to my channel. And in today's video, I want to talk about why I often feel guilty with IIH. So before we get in any more details, time for the intro. Back in 2018, I was diagnosed with IIH. IIH is short for idiopathic intracranial hypertension. In short, in IIH, there's an increased intracranial pressure without a known cause. IIH is known by two older names, pseudotumor cerebri and benign intracranial hypertension. Living with IIH is very hard to explain to others, as it can be hard to tell when I'm not feeling well. My hope is that through these videos we can learn together and help make relationships better through a better understanding. I also hope to provide people living with IIH a community so they never feel like they are alone with this condition. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell down below so that you get updated about further videos. I upload new content every Monday and Thursday afternoon. Living with IIH, there's a lot of guilt involved, and there's a few different reasons for this. I'm going to hopefully get into a few of these reasons today. The number one reason why IIH and I have guilt around having this condition is because of the relationship between IIH and weight. So when I was dealing with the losing of the weight and dealing with all of that at the start, I felt guilty because I thought I had put myself in this position. I've talked about this in a lot of detail before, actually, and so I feel like I've gotten my feelings out of around this. I think there is a huge guilt around the fact that a lot of us feel like we're in this position because we've put ourselves there, when the only thing you hear at every appointment is, well, it gets so much better if you just lose weight and losing weight is a cure. I think it gives a little bit of a false hope. Not everyone does get better with weight loss. A lot of us do, but there's some of us who still have symptoms. Living with IIH, there is this tremendous amount of guilt around the fact that IIH is so directly related to weight. And particularly for me, because I went through so much learning in my biochemistry degree about the relationship of obesity and health. So when I heard that, well, this could be possibly related to my weight, I knew it was an issue. A lot of us are struggling with the fact that we're having so many symptoms. So this is also complicating how easy it is for those of us to actually do the work to lose the weight. And diet does play a huge, big role in that. But honestly, there is a little bit of workouts and a little bit of exercise that has to go into it too. How I thought about this at the beginning was, so if I lose weight, this condition will possibly go away, which would be awesome. I mean, that's enough motivation right there. But there's also the motivation, but losing weight is so important for a lot of other parts of health too. So if I can improve my overall health, even if it doesn't help my IIH at all, I think it's worth it just for that reason alone. The connection between IIH and weight was a major reason for a lot of guilt at the start. Just before I move on to my other reasons for why having IIH makes me feel guilty, I just want to add that I do sometimes have guilt around IIH and weight, because I often wonder if I would be in this situation now if I had been able to keep my weight off when I lost weight the first time. I'll talk about this in Thursday's video in more detail. I think the part where I feel guilty now is because I'm at the point where my symptoms come and go in waves. And when they come, they're really, really strong. So it makes me unable to do a lot of the things that I can do when I'm feeling good. So there's a lot more times that I'm feeling good than when I'm feeling bad. But those bad times make it so that it's very, very hard to hold down a routine that I don't have control over and can just snap out of the routine whenever I have to take a day off. I feel particularly guilty because I'm not able to do the things that I feel like I should be able to do at this point, because 70-80% of the time, I'm feeling good. I'll cover more about what I mean when I say that I feel good 70 to 80% of the time in a future video. It will require its own video to properly explain. I have already added this to my video list, so I will likely do it at some point next month. But it's that 20 to 30% of the time now that is enough to hold me from moving on and going on with life now with IIH and migraines, with everyday life, not being able to hold down commitments with people, not being able to socialize as much with my friends and family is a really, really hard part of living with this condition and brings along a lot of guilt. I know that I have a limited amount of time with people to spend with them, and it's so frustrating when I have to pretty much not socialize with them because I'm not feeling well enough to do so. The thing is, if I was feeling well enough every time to go, I wouldn't be in this situation to begin with. Not being able to be around others, that is really frustrating. It's also quite isolating because you're not able to be around people. Like when I have a migraine, I have to be usually in the dark and in fairly decent amount of quiet. I can tolerate quite a bit though before I need complete quiet, but often I do need complete quiet. And it really, really sucks because I have to have some white noise, because if it's really, really quiet, I'll get the ringing in my ears or the thumping if my head is really, really hurting, and that's not very comfortable either. It's really, really important that if you're trying to be friends with somebody who has a chronic condition, like a chronic headache condition, so whether that be IIH migraines or other types of chronic headaches, that you really give them a decent amount of patience because they're honestly trying their best. It's not like they're trying to make up an excuse not to go out. I mean, I would do that too. I'm an introvert, I admit it. But the truth is I'm so isolated now that I often jump at the opportunity to go someplace unless I feel like it's too late at night or it's just has a possibility of making or bringing on a headache. Now, with living with people and forming relationships, one of the things I really, really dislike is when I have to cancel plans. So I really need people to understand that I can't guarantee a particular date and time, and I've talked about that in other videos. I think the biggest thing I want to get out of this is that there's a huge amount of guilt that comes along with having a chronic illness, and it's honestly one of the tougher parts of living with chronic illnesses. I hope that this kind of helps with this particular topic. This isn't an easy topic to talk about for me. This is really, really difficult. This is opening up quite a bit actually. I find that talking about these topics is so important because number one, it could help somebody else know that they are not alone. And number two, it's honestly great therapy even talking about this, even the stuff that doesn't make it into the final cut for me. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. And as for now, that's it for today. Bye everyone.